Hi everyone, Adrian here and welcome to Wild Bush and Grit. So by popular demand, here it is, my video on how to preserve fish. Following the dry meat video, lots of folks have been asking me, how about fish? So here it is. I have three ways to propose you. Actually, I had to make some research and the answer came from sailors. Yeah, so I've been infiltrating some forums of sailors, people who've been circumnavigating the globe, anyway, sailors, boat, they go around, and what do they do to preserve the fish that they're catching? So the first one is how you can keep a fish fresh for 24 hours. The second method is a midterm solution, what I read was about 9 months, but I'll be conservative, so it's let's aim for 6 months. So it's more of a brine salt method to preserve the fish. So this is the second method, and the third method is drying the fish completely. And this, once you have zero moisture in the fish, then this can last many years. So one thing I want to say, flat out disclaimer: food safety should always be a concern. Okay, don't watch this video alone and go and do whatever. Make your own research. If you're doing any of the method I'm explaining here, know that it's at your own risk. I don't control what's happening in your kitchen, what happened to your, I don't know what fish, it's essentially what I'm trying to say is things could go wrong, okay? And know that it's your responsibility, okay? So that's being said. So here we go. Let's jump right into it. Okay, first method, which is called corning, which is popular among fishermen, okay, anglers and sports fishermen. The goal here is to preserve the fish for about 24 hours. So for corning the fish, the first thing we need is a clean fish. So this fish is still full, it hasn't been gutted and you still have the gills here. The first thing you want to do is, usually when I catch a fish, I bought this fish at a fish market, okay, I did not catch it. But let's say I caught this fish, the first thing I do, and I'll do that with all the fish, I will bleed it, okay? I don't kill it straight away, I just bleed it. It tastes much better, and actually the blood is one of the reasons why fish spoil so quickly, okay? So if you bleed a fish, first it'll taste cleaner, and it will last longer, guaranteed. So I will turn off the camera, not interesting to see me clean a fish, but what I'll do is I'll open the belly cavity and remove everything and also clean the gill properly. As I'm cleaning the fish, I think it's important that I show you this. Don't think when you reach that part that you're done, you're not, okay? And you see all the blood that is in there, we need to clean all this clean. If that fish has been bled to begin with, we wouldn't have that much of a mess here. Okay. That's more like it, all right? So I'll just quickly pat it dry to remove some of the excess moisture. Now we'll simply use table salt, very simple, plain old table salt, table salt, all right? So the proportion here is about 6% of the fish weight in salt. I would say don't sweat it too much, just cover every part of the fish possible, everything that is exposed to the air. Here it's important to use fine table salt, okay? You don't want a coarse one because the coarse will not have enough time to actually coat the fish properly. Okay, and the next thing you want to do is actually wrapping the fish in cheesecloth. You don't want it to be in a seal-tight container, okay? You still want the fish to breathe a little. You want the moisture to evaporate. You see all that moisture that went down there? So I'll do this. I'll wrap it like that. This should protect it from the flies. And that's it. I'll out of the sun in the coolest place you can find, you can get. protect it from bear, raccoon, foxes, and that's it. So I'll test this in 24 hours, meaning I'll try to eat it in 24 hours. Okay, so the aspect right now, the mummy here feels a little bit moist. Some part are dry, I can feel even the salt, but some part are still humid. In terms of smell, I'm not smelling any foul smell, you know, no gag reflex, so that's a good thing. It smells like fish. Yeah, it smells like fish, you know, firm to the touch. But you know what? Yeah, I feel confident. So, my wife, not so much. All right, so let's prepare this fish. I'll keep it very simple. I'll just send it to the oven, a little bit of olive oil, some fine herbs on top of it. I don't need to add salt. But what I'll do is I will dunk it in fresh water for about 30 minutes just to take off, you know, the edge of salt. Just perfect. And trying to, apparently it's going to be more palatable based on the comments and feedback I had in the forums. Here, so let's see if I don't go for the skin straight away. It is salty. I can handle it. No, it's okay. It's not like too salty, but it's definitely not as salty as a dry meat, for example. But oh yeah, actually that's a good comparison. You know, it's salty like a ham would be salty, maybe a little bit more than a ham, but it's delicious. The flesh is very firm. No, I dig it, seriously, I love it. It's really good. All right, next. All right, I got these beautiful walleyes here. We are going to brine them. Brining the fish, technically, this should last up to 9 months. So obviously in this video, you will not have the result of what happened after 9 months, but what I'll do is I'll make a follow-up after 5 months. You know, I think 9 months could be excessive, but let's do a follow-up in 5-6 months. For the brine, what I'll do is I will just lift off the fillet of this fish. All right, so for the brine to work, first thing we'll do is we will pour at the bottom of a glassware, we'll pour some salt and lay one fillet. Here the quantity doesn't matter, okay? You need plenty. I cannot tell you in weight, but you'll need more than what is going to be palatable. You cannot use too much, that's what I'm trying to say. So here, another one, here, so this is good. So you want both sides of the fillet to have plenty of salt. And for the salt, this is just salt, pure salt. There's nothing added to it. Okay. So just sea salt, regular sea salt, no iodine, but anyway, nothing has been added to that salt. It's just pure salt. All right, add a little bit more, just for good measure. The salt is creating an environment that is hostile for bacteria. All right, so now we're going to add some water. You don't want the fish to actually be outside of the water, okay? You want all the pieces. If the fish were to float, I want you to add something on top to keep the fish below the water level. I will cover it with a plastic cover like a saran wrap, and I'll leave it. No fridge, just room temperature. Actually, you know what? We could add a little bit more salt on top of this. You want maximum saturation with the salt. Maximum saturation. Now cover this with cling wrap. Okay, it's been 3 days at room temperature. Here, according to the thermostat on the walls, it's about 21.5 degrees Celsius. Now for the next step, we will just remove the brine, well, remove the fish from the brine, pat it dry, and store it in dry salt. That's it. The texture has changed. You know, the fish is much firmer. I'll lay a little bit of salt at the bottom of this plate here. And what we'll do is we'll do like a fish and salt lasagna. That's gonna wait for six months, and I'll report back to you folks. And voila.
Check the mic and make sure it sounds
The drying method. For the drying method, technically you could do it with just sun and wind. Just because I can, I'll do it with the dehydrator, okay? But know that you can cut the fish into tiny pieces, and you want small strip of fish like this that you can hang out to dry with a good wind and some sun. I will over-engineer this recipe, meaning that technically you don't need to add salt, you don't need to add anything. You want your piece to have relatively the same size because of the drying time. You know, you don't want some parts to be too dry and some others to be not enough. If you manage to remove completely, and I mean completely, any moisture, that fish will last a long time. What I'll even do is I'll transform some of this into pemmican. So I mean adding some fat to it to even help preserve it even longer. Okay. So to this, I'm going to add 1 pinch of salt, maybe a teaspoon of salt, some black pepper, some lemon juice, and that's it. I have to taste it. Delicious. Anyway. Okay, so once you have your fish well coated with salt, pepper and lemon, and again, you don't have to do that, okay? You can just slice it and send it to the sun. It's all good. I just want to impart a little bit of flavor here to this wonderful cut fish. So I'll just lay everything here in my dehydrator, and we'll start for at least 24 hours, and then we'll see how it looks. My goal here is to dry it out completely. And for 24 hours. So this is how it looks after 48 hours. So we had a check at 24 hours just to double check the moisture level, and it was still too much for what I wanted to do with this. And now this is completely, but I mean completely dry. There is like zero moisture left in this. It actually feels like potato chips. Super brittle, and they're delicious as is. You know, with that lemon, pepper, a little bit of salt, and then that's it. They look cooked. They're not, they're just very dry. And that's it, folks. That's my video on how I preserve fish. If you're into preserving stuff, you know, like meat and things like that, you can try my dry meat video if you haven't already done so. And also my pemmican video, which, you know, pemmican is virtually like the ultimate survival food. This lasts like 25-30 years easily. And I actually might turn some of these into fish pemmican. You know, I still have some bear fat. That can be great. So that's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please, if you're not a subscriber, please join me on this journey. Hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, notification bell. If you have any comment, please leave them below. Questions, I will try to answer as many as I can. And that's it, folks. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.